We were talking a little bit earlier about how good this team could be this year. One of the reasons for optimism is the incredible talent you have on the roster. I'd say another reason for optimism, I'm sure you're crushed to not see Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, or Oregon on your schedule. You must be. Are you going to be okay?
I'll be okay. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Although we get the booby prize of the runner-up to the national championship.
Yes, no, I understand. I understand. But how does the fact that we are in a non-division world, a 18-team Big Ten, how does that help Rutgers versus the alignment we had previously?
Well, I guess when you play in the Eastern Conference, that was as tough a conference as there is in college football. So, but the reality is, I love that about the Big Ten. I love that about the schedule we played. A long time ago, I stopped looking at schedules. I worked for some guys that would look at the schedule when it came out. This is a win. This is a. How do you know? How do you know what any team's going to be like until you see them start to play? So, I just worry about our team, and I'm excited about our team.
Let's talk about your team. I understand what you said there. Hey, I didn't come back to go to a bowl game, but going to a bowl game is a first step, right? And you guys didn't just go to a bowl game, but you won a bowl game against a traditional powerhouse, a school you know really well in Miami. What did that season mean to Rutgers last year in terms of getting to where you ultimately envisioned the program going?
Well, look, you're dealing with human beings, and when you say we're going to do something, you present a vision. Until you start to have some results, they have to really, really trust, right? Then when you have some results, then they buy in. It's a difference between trusting and believing and then buying in and owning. And I think as you have some results, you start to have some success, they even buy in and own it more.
So last year, bowl game, obviously, a lot of starters coming back this year. How do you prepare this team differently based on the success you had last year?
Well, you're right, Coach. I mean, if you don't make sure they understand last year does not do anything for this year other than the experience that we gained. And I think what we did this offseason has really prepared us to have a great training camp. This team has worked harder than any team I've ever had, but it's player-driven. And that, to me, is what excites me, is that they have taken it and really run with it. The accountability is at a high, but that's what you expect. Year 5, we have an opportunity now where the culture is matured, and the guys that are running it, they've matured.
Just to build off that, Coach, we've heard you call Rutgers a developmental program a few times, and to Jerry's point, the 2 deep is loaded with seniors, right? So I'd imagine the messaging is different to a younger guy versus a more experienced guy. And I'm curious now, with such a experienced 2 deep, how the messaging changes.
Well, I know this. When we've had good teams at Rutgers, or anywhere I've been, one of the common denominators, you have NFL players on that roster. Mm-hmm. And we have NFL players, guys that are in, their 4th or 5th year, that are going to go on and play in the NFL when they're done. That, to me, is a great example to show the younger players. Because they're not coming. Most of the guys who come play in the Big Ten have aspirations to play in the National Football League. And now to have it happen, because when we left the first time, I don't want to overstate it, but we were top 15 in the country in active NFL players. Now, you'd win a lot of bar bets on that one. Not a lot of people would be able to say that. It's going in that direction again. So the younger players, it's important to me that our younger players see these established guys and really are striving to fight for reps.
It sounds like the pass game is a point of emphasis this year, that you have to get better at it, or you feel you have to get better at it. How do you do that without losing your edge in the run game? And has there been a past experience where you've had one part of your offense, one part of your defense that wasn't performing, and you've dealt with this kind of problem before?
I think the first time we were at Rutgers, we dealt with this problem. But I think, Kirk Shiraka does a great job running our offense. And as he said to me, we've learned the offense, but now we have to have some of these older players start to master the offense. And when that happens, we have a new quarterback in Ethan Kalakamanis. I think he has done a great job of coming in, just putting his head down and working, earning the respect of his teammates. And that's one of the reasons he won the job this spring, but one of the reasons I named it early was so he could get a hold of this team this summer and really make it his. And I really feel like he's done that, but as you know, you got to go out and do it on the field. So we'll see. But I think we'll be able to throw the ball better. The other part is the receiving core. I think our receiving core will be markedly better this year than it was a year ago.
So is it personnel, or is there some part of the scheme that Kirk wants to tweak?
I think it's more personnel. I think there's things that the personnel will allow us to do. I think that's one of the things that makes Kirk very special, is he doesn't try to do things that we don't have the people to do it.
Right.
But when we do have them, he knows exactly what to do. And as you know, as you have a little bit of experience, when you're young, you know what you know. And then as you grow in the profession, now you have a buffet, so to speak, of things you can call upon. It's just, do you have the people to do it?
Coach, it almost doesn't make sense to me how the Big Ten's leading rusher seems to be underrated. We're talking about running backs across the conference. You turn on the tape and the tape doesn't lie. Manungai's special in so many ways. I know you've talked about his character even off the field as well, and I just love to kind of give you a chance to talk about him. And you mentioned up there at your press conference how he's the ultimate program guy. What makes him special as a player? What makes him special from a character standpoint? And what does his leadership do for your team?
Well, he's a special young man. I mean, you're talking about a guy that could have gone to any of the Ivy League schools, right? And decided he was going to play, wanted to play at the highest level, and came to the Big Ten. And his high school coach, truth be told, I wasn't sold on Kyle coming out of high school. His high school coach told me, Greg, you need to. Dan Sabella, Don Bosco High School, he said, you need to give this kid a chance. And I'm really glad I listened to him, because he's special.
The high school coach sometimes knows a thing or two.
Yeah, you're not that right.
Doesn't he? The defense last year was outstanding. I mean, this was a top shelf defense. And I look at it this year, and it looks to me like you've got a chance to have one of the best linebacking crews in the Big Ten. Some of that, though, is based on Tyreen Powell and him being back and 100%. Give me a sense of where his health is right now and what you expect from him.
Yeah, I think he's right on schedule. And, it was unfortunate because he had the wrist injury in that Indiana game. And literally, like 6 weeks, he's 6 weeks away from being a day 2 pick in the draft. I mean, that's where he was. But that happens, right? And what he did is he got it fixed, and now he's just doing a skipping drill, and he tears his Achilles. So you're talking about a guy that's had 2 really tough injuries, but he's worked like crazy, and I believe he'll be right on schedule to be ready to go when the season starts. And you put he and Mo Toure together, those are, I agree with you, 2 really fine linebackers.
Can I ask one question real quick?
You do whatever you want
just
to
in
do.
case we run out of time.
This is your world, Jerry. We're just living in it.
Did you do anything fun this past summer?
I did, Jerry.
What'd you do?
My wife and I took a little trip to Italy.
Italy? Okay.
Yes. Very nice.
Everyone
That's
on
it.
this desk went to Italy in the offseason.
Jake, you too.
I was that honeymoon.
Just had his
That's
honeymoon.
right.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe you ought to ask him how his summer was.
Yeah, thanks, Coach.
Jake, did you do anything interesting this summer?
I did. I went to Italy.
Did you get married?
I got married.
You should have put that before.
Yeah, you don't learn quickly. You put
You
that
might want
first.
to reverse the answers. Yeah.
Good point.
Thank you.
I'm
sorry, Reverend.
We'll share travel stories a little bit later. Coach, I do want to ask you about your recruiting class. It is really exceptional. Again, I know you have to wait until everyone signs on the dotted line in this day and age, but why do you believe you've been able to see this uptick here? Like, what do you think has changed maybe in your pitch or in the way that people are perceiving your program?
Well, let me first say something about the defense, because you mentioned it earlier, and I want to. Joe Harris-Simiak does an unbelievable job coaching our defense. I'll tell you, he is one of the best that I've ever been around. So I'm excited to see him mold that group of guys. But that also lends to the recruiting, because you see those guys that are going to be NFL players in this scheme, and I think that helps. But literally everything, from 4 years ago till today, everything in the program's better. The facilities are better. The culture's grown and matured. The players are better. And, academically, it's always been a great place. So when you talk about recruiting, that's what young people are looking for. And the big thing we talk about is we got to find guys that are a cultural fit for Rutgers. Yeah, they got to play, but you wouldn't be talking to them if they couldn't play. But are they a cultural fit? Because we're different. And if you want to be different, it's a great place. If you don't, probably not the place to come.
Well, we're looking forward to getting out there for camp. What's the biggest question that you'll need to see answered from the beginning of camp to the beginning of the regular season that will make you feel good about where you guys stand?
I didn't think we generated enough pass rush just with a 4-man rush last year. And I thought we were going to, and it just didn't happen. We need to do that. If we can do that, I think we'll have a chance to play really good defense. And when you do that, when you play really good defense, you have a chance to win every game.
Yeah. We're looking forward to Chaffees, too.
That may be the highlight.
Oh, man. I know. The practice is the highlight, but what happens after the practice is pretty good, too.
I don't know. All right.
Greg Schiano, always a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Coach, and looking forward to seeing you guys out here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.